Hello guys, how are you? Today we are going to start a new Python crash course for programmers. So, which means if you are doing programming first time and Python is your first programming language, so this course is not for you. Okay, so this course is designed keeping in mind the people who already know some programming language, at least the basics. It can be a JavaScript, Java, C, or C++. Okay, so you should be knowing regular programming concepts like what is a variable, what is a array, and why do we use loops and all. So the main intention behind this course is to complete Python basics very quickly. Okay, so that we can start with more advanced topics using Python. Okay, so without wasting the time, let's move on. See, I do not have any agenda for this course because the only agenda that I have is to complete Python basics as quickly as possible because basics are very boring. Okay, so we should be doing some real stuff to learn the actual language. Okay, so first thing first, we need to install Python in our systems. So how do we where do we get the software? So we need to go to this website python.org. Okay, so here in the download section, depending upon your operating system, you will get this download button. Okay, if you are coming from Linux or Mac, so you will be knowing how to do it, right? So you can do it using installer, or even you can use a command to install the software. Okay, Python software. And if you are, I mean, installing in Windows, we need to remember one thing. So it is, I mean, you will actually get a .exe file, and when you are installing that, we need to remember this one. So this one needs to be enabled. So it is just like your Java path. I mean, when you after installing Java, we manually go and then update the path right in the environment variables. Similarly here, while installing Python, so we will get this pop-up, I mean, window, so where we need to enable this one, add path Python 3.8 to the. So this is the latest version, I mean, when I'm recording this video. So if you are watching this video in the future, so you might have a different version, maybe 3.9 or some other number. Okay, so I am done with this installation in my system, so I am not going to show you the installation. So installation is, I mean, actually pretty straightforward. Okay, so if you have any problem in installation, so please let us know in the comment section below. Okay, so one basic thing we need to understand is Python is a interpreted programming language. Okay, so so exactly what is the meaning of interpreted programming language? So interpreted programming language means the program will be get converted, I mean, or you can say get executed line by line. Okay, so there won't be any extra file, like executable file, just like in your C programming or Java. So what do we do to run a C program? Generally we compile the program. If there are no errors, we will get a uh, executable file, and again you run it. Okay, but whereas in interpreted programming language like Python, you won't get any extra file over here. So you will execute line by line, and if there is an error, I mean, then the program will get I mean, terminated there itself. Okay, so after installing Python, I mean, how do we check whether it is properly installed, and if the path is correctly set? You can directly open your terminal. Okay, so when you open your terminal and you can type Python. Okay, so you will get a interpreter like this. So this is a Python interpreter, so where you can practice some basic Python statements basically. Okay, see, if you are trying this command on your Linux system or Mac, okay, so you might get a 2.7, I mean, 2.7, because sometimes, I mean, in the older version of Linux, Python 2 is default. Okay, so we need not to worry about it, because okay, so if you are getting two Python some two version here, So exit from here and then manually type python 3. Okay, then you will get your actual version of python 3. Okay, so you can notice here itself. Okay, so in my system the default version is 3.6. Okay, but when I say python 3, it is, I mean, giving me 3 point, I mean 3.8.3. Okay, so which I have installed recently, which is on May 13th. Okay, so this is about the python interpreter. Okay, so here you can try out any regular python statements. Okay, so first thing first, let's do some basic operations here. That means this python interpreter will work as a calculator as well. Okay, so you can quickly try that out. Okay, and let's do our first program, I would say. So for that, excuse me, if you want to print anything on the screen in python, we just use a print statement. Okay, and in the parentheses you can just give hello world. So you will get that same statements. So it's pretty simple actually. So if you are coming from java or c programming, so to just to write a hello world, what you have to do, you have to define your main method, and then you have to write your print statement inside that. If it isn't, if you are coming from java, so you might need to define a class. Okay, but whereas in python you don't need to do anything, I mean, that kind of thing. It's a single statement, you can just print whatever you want on the screen. Okay, so this is how you generally, I mean, we generally uh, print something on the screen. Okay, so if you don't want to use the interpreter and you want to write the program on your own, and you want to manually run it like the way you do it, we can do that as well. Okay, so for that, let me open my text editor, and then I will show you how to write a program in a file and then how we can execute that. Okay, okay guys, I mean, I opened my VS Code editor, and to create a Python file we just need to use any, give any file name, and then it should be ending with .py. Okay, just like in C you use .c and java, right? So similar in Python we use .py here. And yeah, so as I was saying, for a hello world, simple hello world program, you can simply do hello world. Okay, so let me save this. And how do we run the program? You just need to type python and the program name. So you will get the output. If there are no errors, you will get it. I mean, if you have any errors, the program will get stopped there itself. Okay, so this is how you write a simple hello world program in python. Okay, and let's say something like you want to define a variable in python. So how do we do it? So for defining a variable, so we can directly do something like this. Let me do something like this. 10 is equal to a is equal to 10, b is equal to 23.9, and yeah. So this is how you define a variable. So we need not to mention any data type, okay, of the variable, because python is a dynamically typed language, so which means we need not to define the variable type. The interpreter will create the memory block at the runtime basically. So here in this case, you assigned a is equal to 10, right? So what will happen when you run this program? The python interpreter will understand that you are trying to store integer data in a variable called a, so automatically it will create the memory block for that variable a. Similarly for b as well here. And moving on, if you want to define a string in python, how do you do it? So let me take name is equal to here. And there are three ways to define a string in python. The mostly used is like single quotes. Okay, you can use single quotes. And let me take another name like double quotes also I can use. Okay, so there is no difference between single quote and double quote. Okay, so we can use whatever we want. But one advantage of using single quote in python is, so if you have any double quotes in the string, so we can directly use them within the single quotes. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Okay, let take me variable as sentence here, and let's say This is interesting. So I want keep interesting in double quotes, so I can do it. See, okay. So this is how it is. And let's say if you want to print these things, you can just simply do that. So let me run hello.py. Yeah, you can see this, right? So this is how you define it. And in case if you want single quote in the string, then we can do the reverse case here. So let's say something like this. Okay. So there's the advantage of, I mean, single quotes and double quotes in Python. This is taking some time for me. Let me select my interpreter as for the sake. Okay. So this is how it is. Okay. And moving on, if you want to do any arithmetic operations on the variables, yeah, we can do them. So instead of writing this, I mean, all these simple statements here in the file, and then I need to run, instead of that, we can directly use the interpreter. So this is the one that I'm talking about. Let's say something like I have variable a is equal to 10 and b is equal to let's say 5, and I want addition, we can directly use plus symbol, and for subtraction a minus b, for multiplication c. So these are same actually. And in case something like you want a power b, okay, so that means something like this is a power b, you will get the value. Let's say something like a square you want, this is okay. So this is interesting, right? So yeah, one more thing is in Python, for for comments we use this hash symbol. Okay, so this double asterisk is denote the power. Okay, exponent operator. Okay, exponent operator, that is about that. And one more thing is for division we use a/2, but if you notice here, right, so when we use a single slash, you will get values in decimals. Okay, if you want a whole number, I mean in the integers, we need to use a double slash. Makes sense? So give me show one proper example. Okay, so in this case we will get something like this, right? So 5 by 2 is 2.5. So if you want the whole number, then we need to give this one. Okay, so that is how we divide it, or divide. And if you want the modulus, okay, the regular operator like any other programming language, so this is how you do it. And as I was saying, I mean earlier, right, so Python is a dynamically typed language, and we don't need to define the data type of a variable. But how do we know, I mean, what type of variable it is? Okay, so to know that, there is a function called type. Okay, so when you say this, you will get that data type of that variable. Okay, so you can see here, right, so a is a integer type. Let me show you another type. So I want to check type of this some string constant here. Obviously you will get a class string. Okay, so let me show one more thing, like 75.5, and if I do type of f, I will get something like this. Okay, so this is about data types, I mean type function. Okay, and there is one more thing, I mean, about the print. So print is not like only one value you can give. It actually takes multiple values in one function called a comma b comma. I can do n number of values in a single print statements. Okay, so that's about that, about the arithmetic operators. uh, yeah, anything else, I mean, did I miss? Yeah, coming to the strings, let's say something like you have a string. Let me take name is equal to, and like let's say something like last name, I just want to keep it as s. Okay, and now I want to concatenate these two variables or the strings. So how do we do it? It's pretty straightforward actually. In Python you can simply say uh, variable 1 plus variable 2, you will get the output here directly. Okay, and let's say something like you want this name, particular name repeated n number of times. Let's say something like I want 10 times. How can we do it? Just like it is like a multiplication in Python. So n into 10 I can do. I will get all the values over here. Okay, but we cannot divide a string with a string, right? That doesn't make sense. Let's say something like I have another string s is equal to some here. So I can do name plus s, which makes sense, but I cannot do these things because you cannot subtract a string from another string, right? So that is not possible. So it's only common sense. So that's how, I mean, we can deal with the strings in Python. And let's say something like you want to know the length of the string in Python, right? So how do we do it? So for length, there is a length function. Okay, so this is how we can do it. In case, let's say something like you want to convert this into uppercase, you simply call the upper function. If you want lower, you can say lower. Okay, and similarly there is like a title case as well. And how do we know, I mean, what functions are available on that particular data type? Okay, so let's say something like you have a string and you want to know all the possible functions, I mean predefined functions in Python. So for that you can simply do help of that variable. Okay, what happened here? Use help str, it is saying. Yeah, see here. So because that name variable is a string type, right? So we have to give string type there. So these are the possible functions that we can apply on that thing. So count, center, okay, encode, ends with, okay, find. There are many actually. So you can try out all these things. Okay, so even you can join the basically. See, so that's about the help function in Python. And yeah, so what else is there about strings? So there is one interesting thing in Python. Let's say something like you have a string. Okay, let me define it. S is equal to, I have 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. Okay, and I want substring from this string. Okay, that means let's say something like I want only first three characters. How can we do it? See, it's straightforward in Python actually. So right, in basically in C or Java, if you want to access each character, we should use index, right? The same thing we can do in Python as well. So s of 0 and s of 1, even here also the index start from 0 only. And one interesting thing in Python is, let's say something like you want to access the last element. And for that, I mean, in other programming language, what do? We generally identify the length of the string and then we do length minus 1, isn't it? But here simply you can do s of minus 1. So you will get the last element of that particular string. Okay, but coming to our actual question, how to pull out the substring out of a string. So let's say something like I want first three characters. Okay, so how do we do it? See, if you want the first character, we give 0. Okay, and for second character, we give s of 1, and for third one, s of 2. But how can we get all these three? It's a straight for it is like, see, this is right. So basically, if you want to pull these each characters individually, we have to give s of 0, s of 1, s of 2. Okay, so we can use the same thing here. I can give, I starting from 0, I want till 2. Okay, so let me print out the value. I will understand it actually here. See, so what happens here? So when I give s of 0 colon 2, it will actually give the first two characters. Okay, starting from 0, two characters. Okay, that means if you want first three, you have to give 3 there. Okay, so 0 colon 3. So which means starting from 0 till 3 but not 3. Okay, and let's say something like you want in between. Okay, so we can do that as well. So let me give something like this. Okay, so that is how we can pull the substring from a string. And there is one more thing actually. So it is not only about only substring. Okay, like sequence of characters here directly we are getting 4 5 6, right? So let's say something like I want every alternate character from this string. Okay, so in that case what we can do is I can give starting from 0, okay, till let's say something like 9, but I want alternate character. So in that case, we need to give extra parameter here, like another colon, and then let me give 2. See here, you got it right. So 1357. So which means actually, so this value will work as a increment for increment in extracting the substring basically here. So starting from 0, okay, and then after 0 plus 2. So which is 3, you will get 5767. So let me try with another value. I will give 3 here. See, okay. So that's how it is. And one more thing, I mean, you don't know the length of the string and you want to go till the end, then we can just simply skip it. Okay, we can simply skip it. So it will understand that you are trying to pull till the end. And if you are starting, I mean, if you want to start from the beginning, then also we need not to use 0 explicitly. Then simply remove that as well. Okay. So that's how it is. And in case there is one more thing is let's say you want to reverse the string. Okay, so simply we can give -1. So what will happen is, so since you mentioned nothing here, I mean that means you want from the beginning till the end, and the increment value is -1. Okay, so since the increment value is -1, so it will start from the back. Okay, so from the back you will get everything. So in case if I give -2 here, see here from the back you will get every other alternate characters. So this is called slicing in Python. This is pretty interesting basically. Okay, so that's about the strings. And let's say something like, let's talk about arrays. Okay, so you might be I mean knowing about arrays in C programming or JavaScript or Java, right? But we don't have array in Python, but we call them as a list. Okay, so how do we define a list? So let me take a variable called L here and with the square brackets. Okay, so no need of new all those I mean memory allocations and all. There is no need of anything. You simply define even you don't need to mention the data type also. You simply um, have a variable name and is equal to the data within the square brackets with a comma separated. Okay, so if you want to check the type of it, you can simply say type of L here. Okay, so that's how I mean you define a list. And the list I mean need not to be having the same type of data. Okay, but in Java or C programming, right, so when you define an array, so you will have a data type and you should be storing the same data type values in that particular array. But whereas in Python, it is independent of any data type, so you can store any kind of data within a list. So let me show that. So new list is equal to, so I will first value I will give some value, and then I will give some text, and after that some floating value. And I forgot to mention the boolean in Python. Okay, so we have true or false. Okay, the capital T and capital F for boolean values. Okay, so now let's say same thing. If you want to access any array I mean list element, the same index is possible here. Okay, so since is index is possible, okay, since index is possible, even the slicing is also possible for list as well. Just like in the strings we have done, right, the slicing, similarly we can do slicing for list as well. It's pretty straightforward, right? So in case if you want to I mean update any element, okay, you can do it like this one. Let's see. Let me keep it this way. Okay, so the value will be get updated. And in case if you want to add a new element to the list, you have a function called dot append. Okay, so to this append you can give the values. And it's not only like let me show the list first. Okay, we got the value here, right? It's not like only the values that you can append, you can actually append another list as well. Okay, so let me show that. So what I will do is I will append another list here. So see here, so this will be like your two-dimensional array, isn't it? So now if you want to access this element, then how do we 0 1 2 3 4 5, right? So 5 of, let's say something like 2. Okay, so we will get the value 3 here. Makes sense. But one thing, I mean, since we are discussing about modifying the elements of a list, but this is not same is not possible with the string. Okay, so you cannot modify a string. So let me show that example. We have a name variable here, right? So let's say something like name of 0 I want to give small a, let's say. Okay, that is not possible here because in Python strings are immutable, which means you cannot modify them. Okay, you cannot actually modify the memory location of that string, but you can create a new string out of it, but not you cannot modify it. Okay, so that's about that. And but whereas list is mutable, that means you can modify the list. Make sense? And yeah, so this is how you append new values. And if you want to explore other functions of a list, we can same we can use the help here. Okay, so you will get what are all functions you can apply on this thing. So there is a one, I mean, sort is here. Okay, so we can, I mean, experiment that if you want. Okay, so pretty straightforward. So sort, hold on a minute, I think I made a mistake. And oh, sort is not defined. Yeah, let me try. Actually, there is a sort function. It's a very straightforward one. Let me define a new string. Okay, list. Okay, one. Let's say I have 1 comma 23 comma 4 comma. Let's say 5 comma 0. Okay. So L dot sort I can do simply. Yeah, it's working actually. I don't know what was error earlier. Now you see here. So actually you are modifying the string itself. So in case if you don't want to modify the given list and you want to generate a new one, there is a function called sorted. Okay, so which will generate the new list. So let's take another example. Yeah, new list. I will take the same example here only, and I will do sorted new list here. So you will get the sorted as a sorted list as output. But if you go and then check the list, you will have the same data. Okay, so it's depending upon your requirement whether you want to, I mean, update the same string or, I mean, sort the same string or not. That's up to you basically. So that's about the list. There is one more data type in Python called tuple. So which is same as list, but it is immutable basically. That means you cannot modify the values. So the syntax for defining a tuple in Python is uh, using this parentheses. Okay, for a list we use square brackets. For tuple we use the parentheses. Okay, see. So here also you can use the index values. Okay, so which means you can, okay, so which means you can use slicing also for tuples as well. The only thing is you cannot modify them. I mean, you cannot something like this because you can assume that as a constant. Okay, so once you define it, you define it. That's it. You cannot modify them. Okay, so that's it, guys. I mean, I will take a break here, and in the next class, I mean, or in the video, we will discuss about another data structure called dictionaries in Python, and after that, we will see how we can have conditions and loops, and how can we write functions in Python. So till then, take care, guys. And if you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, please do subscribe and share this video. Thanks.